One other thing I'd throw out there is the amount of follow-up that is needed to actually connect with a lead is often shocking for people.
One email, right?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, exactly. One email, one text, one phone call. Yeah, 8. I was gonna say 7. So 7 to 10.
Actually higher. They redid that stat that said 8 touches. It's now like 12 or something. We heard that at the event in Miami.
But they call those touches, the emails count as touches now, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. So if a client says he can't get a hold of the lead, and you ask what's the follow-up cadence been, and you find out it's been one phone call, you have to educate them on a proper sales follow-up. You want to be that stalker until you make that initial contact. Then you don't need to be calling 5 times a day. But realistically, that person is as hot of a lead as you're going to get. That person is in enough of a frenzy that they've gone out looking for the solution, and you're saying that person's only worth a single phone call. Think about that for a sec. So if you flip it and say, I'm going to call that person until I connect with them, and have that mentality that you're going to call 4 times for the first day, and then 3 times, 2 times, and then just continue the follow-up until you actually connect with them, I think you'll be in a much better situation. And that's across the board in all niches.
When I first started in the industry, there wasn't texting, there wasn't all there wasn't the video messaging, it wasn't any of that. So I asked an agent, like, he was telling me how much money he was making off our solution. It was an absorbent amount of money. Like, he was making $500K personal off of it, and he wasn't spending probably $2,500 a month. And I said, what's the story? And he said, I dial for dollars, man. I dial till they buy, till they die, or till they call the cops. Like, literally, it's like, I dial for dollars. And that was a great point. He's like, they're either going to answer that phone at some point and say, please stop calling me, or I already bought, or hey, this person doesn't exist, right? So, yep. I mean, at first when I heard it, I was like, God, that's crazy. But then it makes a ton of sense. If your job is to make money, then dial for dollars.
Yep. You've got to have a certain type of personality to be willing to pick up the phone and make that dial. So if you don't have that person that enjoys running into brick walls and getting knocked down, you probably have the wrong person in the sales role. And that's part of it. Sometimes leaning on your front desk people, Deborah, that is answering the calls at the dental office for implants, shouldn't be the one trying to make sales calls and doing the follow-up to get them scheduled in the chair. So hiring correct for sales, I think, is really important, and not just putting an admin on it or a secretary type role on it, putting a salesperson in there that actually enjoys the hunt and enjoys the follow-up and the chase. Because while these are inbound leads, if you don't make that connection and it's a form submission, you do need to chase. You do need to have someone that enjoys that stuff, or all the leads are going to look like they're bad leads, when in reality, you're just not having a proper sales cadence put in, a sales system put in place.
Yeah,
we've seen that situation. I was
going to mention that about the receptionist too. Is that's the salesperson for most businesses. They think that person. I mean, it's not fair to them. They didn't get a job to be a salesperson, but they don't think that they're a salesperson. They think that they're just answering calls, but you're not. Now you have to follow up with those leads. You can't. And people that put them in that position, it's their fault for putting them in that position, because that's a business development role. You need to get somebody that can turn people into dollars. And if the receptionist is the first line of defense and takes the incoming phone calls and can do it, then that's great. But once they can't connect with that person because it's a web form or something like that, you need to hand it off to somebody who's going to, like you said, Ed, like, take it seriously. And one of the things that we've actually done, because this is another issue that comes up, is web forms, right? I know, Ed, your guys are more call driven, and that's great. And I prefer calls too. At the same time, people want to fill out forms, so maybe they're at work or they're doing something, or we're doing Facebook lead ads or something like that. And so one of the issues we run into is contact rate. So like getting a hold of people. So one of the things that we've done is actually use some automation to where a web form comes in, and depending on if the person, that the client of ours is using our system or not, it'll text them back and say, hey, we saw your web form. We're gonna give you a call in a few minutes from this number, because a lot of times people will not answer the call. I've been on this recording. I've gotten like 3 calls from numbers I don't know. I don't answer them. I don't care who you are. If it's that important, leave me a message. If it's not, I won't call you back. And the whole world is like that. Nobody will answer the phone for a number they don't know anymore. So like with, I think the texting side is just, okay. And I'm not trying to sell texting here. I'm just saying that most people will see it. They get open like within moments, and people have the choice to respond or not. And maybe it's just like, hey, this is Dustin with PPC Pros, I just saw you submit a contact form. You got a minute to chat. This is a good time. And now you're being respectful. You're not just randomly calling them out of the blue. You know, what we found is, and we've done this in an automated fashion, like for some surgeon clients, and really we do this for a lot of clients. I've found that people will respond like, hey, I'm at work right now, or hey, can you call me after 6? And so now they're telling you when to call them. Yeah. Now you know where you're going to call them from, and you know when to call them. And they've just proven, hey, guess what? The leads are not crap. They just are not ready to talk to you right now. So that was one of the reasons that we did that also. So I can show people, oh, Facebook leads are garbage. Okay, well, I just sent them a text that says, hey, you were interested in this offer. You know, we're going to give you a call this time. And they said, hey, call me after 6. Is that lead crap? Why would she tell you to call after 6? Why? You tell me. So like, I feel like there's more we can do, not so much as agencies, but as business owners thinking about this process to set up your front desk person for success, I guess, if that's how you're going to go about it, or getting somebody good. So I don't need to talk too much. Mark, go ahead.
Yeah, Debbie at the front desk sometimes, I mean, it's just more work for her sometimes. If a call comes in and she has to have Debbie might not want a new client, not want to onboard a new client today. And I've heard the person that answers the phone, you know, the person who's calling wants to reach Joe's tree service because he's got a tree down in his front yard. And he says, is this Joe's tree service? No, this is Jill's tree service. Oh, I was trying to reach Joe's because I got a tree down in my front yard. And then they're like, oh, let me get the number for that tree service. I'll send you over there. I'm like, no, that is a freaking lead. Tell them I'll come out in 15 minutes and do an inspection and give you a price, you know, but the person at front desk just like, oh, let me help you out. I'll send you over to Joe's tree service. Sure. So yeah, having it hurts me to see us go through all the work to develop leads and have them stop right there, you know, at the client and not be handled well, put it that way.
Right.
Yep. I'm with you.
Not that any of us are perfect at handling our leads or anything, but you can be really bad at it too. And it's not going to help you it's not going to behoove you to spend a lot of money on marketing if you're not dealing with the leads well when they come in the door.
If you look at a big sales organization like Cardone, and you look at his company, it's sales reps that answer the calls. And then if it's a client, they'll direct you to the correct department, or you've already got a direct dial number and
That's
you're
great.
moving in line. So do as they say. Get the calls over to a salesperson that's going to directly do it. Now, it's not it may not work for everybody, but as soon as you can have a full-time salesperson on staff, they should be getting every phone call. You know, eliminate the middleman in there, eliminate Debbie at the front desk if you can afford to do that, and just get calls directly into salespeople's hands, because at the end of the day, it's an inbound lead, and nothing's better than an inbound lead in sales except for like a referral. But
I think the worst thing actually is that system that picks up the phone and just says, you know, if you know your party's number.
We make it. We won't let them do that. We say it has to go to a direct dial. We don't let them put through there, because as soon as that happens, they're not doing it for whatever reason. They just hang up, and that's a dead lead. That's a waste of money. Guys, anything else you want to add in here? If not, I got to cut this one short because I got to get into a meeting.
Okay.
Oh, just hire an agency and don't hire Google, and follow up with your leads. Yeah. And don't get pissed off your traffic guy if you don't answer the phone for the calls. And you know, you can grow your business by answering the phone and following up with leads, like with the same amount of traffic, guys. It's like costs you $0 extra to do that, and just do your part. Right? It's a team effort. There you go.
Yep. Our job is to bring the horse to water, not to make it drink.
And give it some salt, maybe. That's about all we can do.
Exactly. Yeah. There you go. Love it. Awesome. Nick, Dustin, Mark, thank you very much for your time today. Until next week.
Talk
to you guys later.
Later.